Welcome to Talking Crew, a unofficial Motley Crue podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Humphrey, where I talk all things in the world of Motley Crue. This is episode 19 this week. Motley Crue's VH1 Behind the Music is what I'm going to be talking about this week. This weekend, Motley news, quite a little bit of it. December 11th was Nikki Sixx's birthday. Happy birthday, Nikki Sixx. Mick Mars released the second single off his upcoming solo album, Right Side of Wrong. I actually did a bonus episode this past Wednesday, the review of this song, so if you missed it, go back and check it out. Plus, Vince is in the news this week as well. He's released, or announced, I should say, two solo shows. January 12th at the Hard Rock Casino in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and January the 13th at the First Cancel Casino in Newkirk, Oklahoma. Last Friday, Tommy Lee's in the news this week. Last Friday, when I hit record, he did a radio interview on 95.5 KLOS. I'll post this link in the comment section so you can listen to this interview with Tommy. It's absolutely hilarious. You have to check it out. He talks about Crew Year's Eve, easy for me to say. And he talks about Christmas. He talks about golf, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, definitely check this out. On Tuesday, the band announced two new shows for 2024, May 3rd and 4th at the Hard Rock Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So I don't remember when tickets go on sale, but definitely check out Motley.com. Plus, on Wednesday, Nikki posted that new Motley Crue music is coming out in 2024 and that he is teaming up with Lion King director for a new music themed animation project. That's actually really exciting news. I'm not much of a Disney fan unless it's like Star Wars or Marvel, but this I will definitely check out. Okay, and that's it in Motley news. This is episode 19. Motley Crue's VH1 Behind the Music is what I'm going to talk about this week. I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about this little TV special featuring Motley Crue. So let's go some info and facts on this. VH1 Behind the Music is a documentary TV series. They talked about all kinds of bands and artists, from anybody from Milli Vanilli to Pitbull and everything in between. I've watched one that was on Metallica. I've watched one on Rat, Poison, Megadeth, all kinds of people. It ran from August 1999 to July 2014. It had 16 seasons, 256 episodes. Some shows were 60 minutes and some even ran longer to 90 minutes. The series is no longer on VH1, but it is on Paramount Plus. That's how I watched this. I did have this on DVD or VHS. I'm pretty sure it was VHS, but like I've said, I pretty much lost all my VHS Motley stuff. But it is on Paramount Plus, so if you have a subscription to this, definitely go back and check this out. A few of the shows, like I mentioned, were actually released on VHS or DVD. Blondie, Shania Twain, Megadeth, and of course Motley Crue. Motley Crue's episode aired on Season 2, Episode 13, on December the 13th, 1998. The cast for the show was all four members of Motley Crue: Vince, Nikki, Tommy, and Mick, along with former member John Corabi, Larry Flint from Hustler magazine, Lon Friend, who did the writing and editor of Rip magazine, Ross Hofflin, who actually kind of pisses me off on this episode, and if you've watched this before, you know why I'm saying this. There is some interviews with Heather Locklear in this. Former band manager Doc McGee, Ozzy Osbourne is on this, Stephen Percy of Rat, producer Bob Rock, other producer Tom Warman, and drug addiction counselor Bob Timmons, plus a whole lot more are on this show. Now, let's talk about the show. I'm not going to talk about everything they said. I'm just going to talk about bits and pieces here and there, because if you haven't seen this, go back and check it out. Starts off with old clips and new interview clips as part of the intro, and then there's this best quote from Nicky in this intro part. He says, "We are the best rock and roll band that ever walked the earth," and I absolutely, totally agree. Absolutely. Then the show kind of kicks in. They talk about the formation of the band. Tommy says Kiss's Peter Criss was his main influence on playing the drums. Then they talk about the name of the band. Tommy said that they were a self-promoting machine, hanging up flyers on telephone poles and anywhere else they could put one. Doc McGee, former manager, says that when he saw Motley play, it was the best rock and roll concert he has ever seen. Tommy and Nicky talk about Motley's apartment, which was right up the road from the Whiskey Go-Go. They talk about when Vince would invite everybody after the show, so everybody would come party with Motley Crue. Stephen Percy says the moniker for Motley Crue was hardcore MFers that loved to party. They talk about the tour with Ozzy. Ozzy shows up and he talks about that he doesn't remember a single show from this tour, but he actually remembers all these little crazy stints that they did. He said they were all out of it. Mick Mars says about the tour, you didn't want to pass out because someone would shave off your eyebrows. Then they talk about the car crash with Vince, Razzle, and the people who I mentioned in the Shout at the Devil episode. Oh, I'm sorry, Theater of Pain. They briefly talk about the Theater of Pain and Girls, Girls, Girls albums and tours. Tommy said they were so out of it, he actually peed in the bed sometimes while I get up. Nicky said all the girls would go, when they'd come backstage, they'd all go to Vince. And all the drug dealers would come in and all come to Nicky and Tommy. Nicky talks about his OD and coming back and having this outer body experience. They talk about getting sober with Bob Timmons, who actually comes in at this point and starts talking. Then they talk about the Moscow Music Peace Festival. Tommy said once they were sober, they all got along and they played even better. That's the main thing. Then they talk about the Dr. Feelgood album. Vince actually says when they were a clean, mean machine during that Dr. Feelgood tour. Then they jokingly talk about when Vince got fired or quit. Vince says, "What did Nicky say?" And Nicky says, "What did Vince say?" And they all both start laughing. So like I was talking about during the MC94 episode, they kind of make a joke of this now. So yeah, that's actually good. Then they talk about MC94. Tommy says John was in awe of everything that they did. Then they talk about Tommy and Pam getting together. They talk about Vince and his daughter Skylar. When they talk about this part, this is actually the really saddest part of this show. I can't even imagine what Vince went through, being a father of 2 kids and 2 step kids. I have no idea. John Corabi, that is, says the album and tour wasn't good, so what's wrong? It's the new guy. So that's who Elektra blamed it on. Then they talk about the reunion of the Generation Swine era. They talk about the Motley Crue versus the Earth tour. Nicky says the tour was beautiful. It was chaotic, but it was beautiful in a beautiful way. Then they talk about Pam and Tommy and Vince's sex tapes. Then they talk about Tommy and Pam's fight, and Tommy says, when When did I become the security guy? I was the husband because of all the paparazzi. Then they talk about the greatest hits, which I talked about last week's episode. And then Nikki says, what's bad's going to happen to us? Am I going to die? I already did that. So, and that's originally how it would end. Now, if you watch this on Paramount Plus, which I urge everybody to do, on Paramount Plus, it actually extends even more. They talk about the rest of the history of the band, the books, all this stuff. The Randy Castillo thing coming in. They talk about all the way up to the final tour. Then they talk about the Dirt, the movie, and the stadium tour itself. So it kind of goes all the way through. So like I said, if you have Paramount Plus, search Behind the Music and it'll pop up. So that's it for the show. Homework this week. Have you seen this before? Do you have this? Do you have this on VHS or DVD? Write me a comment down below. Like I said, I used to have it on VHS. It got lost somewhere. I'm not really sure where. And that's it for this week's episode. Next week is episode 20. I was looking at the past episodes and I was like, I haven't done a ranking of any kind. So I'm going to do episode 20, a ranking. And I'm not going to talk about the albums. I'm going to rank the 9 studio album covers. The covers, not the albums themselves, because I will do a ranking on that way down the road. And I actually have another idea of a ranking way down the road. But next week I'm going to rank the album covers, the 9 studio albums. So that's next week. If you know, sorry, there's my notes. If you know anybody that is a Motley Crue fan, send them this way. Share them the link. That share button's there. Click on copy and send it to them. Tell them to go on Google, Firefox, YouTube, Facebook, whoever else is out there. Tell them to type in Talking Crew. All the episodes will pop up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. That actually helps out the podcast. And that's it for this week. I will see you guys next Friday for episode 20. 20 episodes. And I'm having a blast. I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. Alright, so I'll see you guys next Friday. And you just took a ride on the wild side.